Today, we're having a conversation which, in the past couple of years, in the political climate, I feel like has been lost. People just want to debate. They want to get on CNN first take and just have an argument where it's red versus blue, Republican versus Democrat. And these are political parties, ideologies that have been established almost 200 years ago. And I honestly think that when it comes down to policy, when it comes down to the issues, we agree more than we disagree. And we're kind of blinded by these parties. So
Yep.
today I'm happy to be joined by Ryan Taylor. How are you doing, Ryan?
Doing good, man.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to start by beginning personally. Are you registered Republican, Democrat? How do you identify?
Yeah, I am registered as a Republican to
Okay.
vote. Yeah.
All right. And give the listeners a little background. Where are you born? Kind of where you grew up?
Yeah. So I grew up all around Oklahoma City area. Right now, I'm living down in Holdenville, which is an hour and a half in the middle of nowhere outside of Oklahoma City. Just hanging out.
Okay. And about your parents, I'll say, what was your socioeconomic status growing up and how do your parents identify?
Yeah. So I would say definitely probably in the lower mid class. My dad was in construction forever. My mom just did kind of accounting. My parents are now separated at like 11 years or something like that. And they are both registered as Republicans as well.
Okay. And would you say you're pretty Christian, pretty anti-religious, or how do you identify that way?
Yeah, I definitely identify as a Christian.
Okay. All right. And that's just a little background. Now we're going to dive into a little bit of the policies and kind of see your point of view on those. And we're going to start with minimum wage. Do you agree, don't agree with minimum wage being raised?
I do not agree with minimum wage being raised to $15 an hour. I could definitely see being brought up a little bit. There's always room for debate on where that could be, and I'm not any person that says this is where it should be, but I believe that $15 would be just way too high for the minimum wage.
See, and I love what you just said right there, because that's the take I always say. I think part of the problem we have is that policymakers, these lawmakers, like, I don't know what should be the actual number or what should be. I think that the people honestly making these laws are kind of the problem. I think people with PhDs, people that study this for a living, should be more in charge of, just want to get that off the bat, should be the ones in charge of making the laws. Yes, we can have opinions. Yes, we can have these views, but my whole opinion is I don't really know. I can say I think I know, but I don't know. And so, I like that you said that. But
for sure,
giving that kind of the issue, which when I still went to college in Oklahoma, lived here the first time, I went to a job and they wanted to drug test and then offer the job for $8 an hour for a part-time job. And to where I think maybe like minimum wage, we've always kind of seen minimum wage as like the floor, and that employers are going to hire and maybe pay above the floor. But I don't think that employers will. And I don't think it also hurts employers to pay a little more. And to where raising it to maybe a 15 or so, I think that minimum wage should be a livable wage, kind of my argument to raising it high. And the other effects, not only would it allow more people to just have one job, but then maybe that single parent or both parents that are working, maybe then have more time to spend with kids at home. So then kids aren't off doing more things. They're not more in poverty with one job. And to where you see the other effects of just kind of slightly raising minimum wage to where it wouldn't hurt the employers that much. That's kind of my take on that.
Yeah, for sure. I definitely think that those big, I worked for AT&T for a little bit. They're $7 billion company. Those companies definitely are able to do more than that. My kind of opinion on the livable wage is minimum wage equals minimal skills. It's not this minimum wage should be for like high school, college kids that are out just trying to make some spending money, doing something like that, not grown people that are trying to provide for their families, in my opinion, specifically for that.
Yeah. And I get that, but it's more, even Walmart, I guess Walmart now pays a little bit more, but unfortunately they're like the biggest employer in our whole country, and they employ parents to kids, to where there are some kids that are paying and working like 40 hours to help their family. But I think even if that kid's making $15 an hour, but only 15 hours a week, it's not too much, but I don't think that the employers are going to pay high above the minimum wage if they don't have to. I think if you give them the federal guideline that this is how much they have to pay, I don't think they're willing to pay or even train workers. And maybe if you force them to pay them a little more, maybe they're willing to train the workers for a higher skill position rather than having high turnover, knowing that, okay, I'm only paying them $9 an hour.
Yeah, definitely. I think that they definitely should be able to pay them more, especially if they're going to keep them long term. If they, my thought process is if they keep paying them more and more, though, like these high school and college kids that don't necessarily have all the skills, they don't.
Just want to say sorry. Ryan was such a champ. We had a little technical audio difficulties with the little Wi-Fi connection. I had a little storm outage, and then he had a little spotty connection, but we got it figured out. We reconvened and picked back up our conversation. So sorry about the little exit on one part of the interview, but we get right back into it. So enjoy.
What's up, man?
What's up, man? Can you hear me?
No.
All right, we're doing this again.
Right. Yes.
Can you hear me?
We're good. Yeah, we're good. I can.
All right, good deal. Good deal.
All right, now we're about to tackle 3 issues, and I want you to talk about each one separately. And it's going to be gay marriage, abortion, and the death penalty. And I guess let's start by first talking. What are your takes on gay marriage? Are you for, against?
I'm pro. Do whatever the hell you want.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, to an extent, yeah.
Yeah.
I knew what you meant. But yeah,
Gotcha.
there are some lawmakers, what are they called, representatives, I don't know, officials that were trying to repeal gay marriage. I'm just like, why are we trying to do that? Like, just let them be, let people live their life.
Yeah, for sure.
And what about abortion? I know, having a Christian background, I grew up Christian, I understand. I used to think it was complete murder too, but what are your takes on abortion?
Yeah, so anytime I try to discuss anything that has any significance with social issues or politics, I try to take my religious views completely out of it, just because if I say, "Oh, that's a sin," someone that doesn't believe the same way I do is like, "Okay, that doesn't mean anything to me," you know. So, although I believe abortion, and I mean, I believe that it is murder. I believe that it's life begins at conception. I don't put that based on my religious views. I put that based off of that I feel that it's alive. That I learned this a couple of years ago, and I thought it was fascinating to me that if you kill, like if someone murders a pregnant woman, whatever bad guy murders a pregnant woman, it's considered a double homicide. If she knows she was pregnant or not, it is considered a double homicide at that point.
Yeah.
And I thought that kind of shaped the way that went for me.
And I agree with that. Yeah, killing a pregnant woman, double homicide. But even still, removing your religious belief, you still think birth starts at conception and against abortion?
Yes, 100%.
Yeah. My issue on that, and that's coming from us both being men, I know I'll take the precautions, I can do what I want, but I just don't think I have a say in a woman's body. That's why my take on that issue, and that's where I always stand on that issue, is it's me telling, so you know what I mean, someone I have no control over, a complete opposite gender of me, what to do with her body and her menstrual, and that's just my vote on that one. And that's where I'll stand on that.
Yeah, I agree with that too. I mean, I have a hard time saying this is what you can do, this is what you cannot do to another person. I don't care who you are. I can't sit there and tell someone this is exactly how you should do it.
Yeah.
I'm not. I call myself a Christian and everything, but I'm not out there, with my Bible thumping people in the head with it, saying, "Here, you have to do this."
Yeah.
You guys are going to do what you want to do. I'm going to do what I'm going to do.
Okay. So I guess you're pretty much saying, yes, you're against it, but if it passes in Congress and the laws change and you're allowed, yes, you can do it, but it's just not okay with me, kind of your mentality.
Yeah, like I wouldn't if I'm in a very serious relationship right now. We've been together a little over 3 years.
Congrats.
If Thank you. If she were to get an abortion at some point, which I mean, we've had conversations, it's not going to happen and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But if it were to happen, it would be for me. It would be I would not. I would no longer be in that relationship. Both of my aunts actually have had abortions, and I mean, it doesn't change the way I look at them. It's they were teenagers, whatever, but and coaxed by my grandma, which is a completely different conversation. But I don't. I mean, it doesn't make me look at them any different. I just don't believe that it's the right thing to do.
Uh, Speaking of this, are your aunts conservative, both of them, or
One,
Republican?
I would say that my aunts are. They may line up a little bit more conservative, but neither of them really identify with a real political party. Neither of them, I don't think either of them have voted the last 2 times just because they don't really care,
And
which I disagree with, but that's besides the point.
but when did they? I'm just interested now. And when did they tell you that they had an abortion? I don't know how close in age are you with your aunts?
Yeah, so my oldest aunt, I think, is gonna turn. I think she turns 42 this year.
Okay.
And she was one. My mom is the middle child, and then my younger aunt just turned 35 in February. So, and I had learned about them having the abortions, I think, just this past summer.
Oh,
I
recently.
think,
Okay. All right.
yeah, very recently. Yeah,
That feels like a very emotional conversation, to have with your nephew.
yeah. Oh yeah, I'm real close with my entire family. We all have conversations that if other people outside of the family looked at, it'd be like, "What are you guys talking about?" It's a different kind of family dynamic over here.
Okay. Yeah. But then I'll go into, I guess, the legal kind of putting it on the ballot. If a congressperson, are you then for someone who would choose to like turn over abortion? Like, is that if a politician put that on his list of things that he wants to try and like repeal, is that a voting issue that you're positive and like for? Do you understand what I'm asking? I know I'm not articulating
Yeah,
myself right.
no, yeah, you're good. I think I know what you're trying to say. Yeah, I would say that I would probably vote for the person and probably vote for the issue.
Yeah.
But I also, in the back of my mind, I sit here and I think that it shouldn't be a political issue. I don't
Okay.
feel like, especially.
I mean, say we have two Republican candidates and you're choosing the best one.
Yeah.
Uh, are you clinging to the one who has that on his platform or the one who ignores it? Kind of. That's what I guess what I'm asking then.
Yeah, I mean, naturally, every other topic, goes into that and everything. But if they're all pretty equal, then I'll probably lean more towards the dude that cares about the abortion a little bit more.
Oh, okay. Oh, I thought you were going to go the other way, honestly.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I know that I feel that it's wrong and everything, but I feel
Oh,
like I
for
can't
the
tell.
abortion. Sorry. Sorry, for the abortion. We were thinking on the same page. Sorry. Well,
Oh, okay, okay,
I was
okay.
thinking,
Yeah.
yeah. Sorry
Yeah,
about that.
no, yeah. No, you're good, man.
All right. And the
Um,
last one now, and this topic is death penalty. What are your takes on the death penalty?
yeah, man. Death penalty, it has to be, for me at least, it has to be a crime fitting to get something similar to that. Uh, Obviously, murder, first degree, especially.
Even a single murder, one person murdering one person premeditated.
Yeah, see, there's always just
I
so
know
many
that.
other things that come into it, and then all kind of stuff.
I guess, is it a voting issue for you? I guess that's what I'm asking. Are you, again, the two candidates, are you with the candidate who wants to institute the death penalty, or are you more with the candidate who doesn't want to? And they're
Yeah,
both
so
Republican.
both, yeah. So I would definitely probably say more for it, if for the voting issue. I would do
Okay.
that just because life in prison is more of a drain on that person and more of a drain on spending tax dollars to keep people in prison. And if I ever did something that gruesome to get myself life in prison, I would rather die personally. And that's kind of my little stance on that. Just because, I'm not doing anything anyway. I'm just gonna sit there.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, definitely. It's crazy that the same prison, jail, whatever system for those people who committed murder and life in prison is the same person who, I don't know,
Tax fraud. Yeah. I mean,
tax fraud, yeah, selling cocaine, you know what I mean? And those are the same,
exactly.
those should not be the same type of rehab facilities that we put people in. Like,
No, not at all.
that's a whole different story that, again, I don't have enough education on the issue to talk about.
100%. I'm the same way right here.
All right. So now we're going on. This is definitely the kind of liberal versus conservative clash in government regulations.
Okay.
And I used to be very against, I used to always think, the free market's better, private enterprise is always better. And in a lot of instances, I think private is better.
Yeah.
But then at the same time, private, you want to squeeze as much, and it's always about profit margins. And so how do you feel about, this is an issue that I don't even think has been talked about, but I'm just asking kind of from your point of view, how does this make you feel if I think, like, I want us to promote a better image of America. And I know we all have our choice to eat wherever we want, but the fact, not that we should tax fast food chains higher, but I think we should give maybe tax breaks to fresh produce and fresh food, because kind of my growing up, like, I'm used to, eating fast food 5-6 times a week. And before, when I would live here before, I counted and I would eat 30 McDonald's burgers on a weekly basis, like from a McDouble to like late night and all this. And it's just because it's so much easier and so much, like, so I don't want to tax them higher for making that food. It's your option, but maybe give a tax break to people who do provide healthier options, so our country is healthier. So, we don't have more kids, because I was in the child obesity range and diabetes, and just because you were wanting our country to do better for everyone. How do you feel about things like that?
Yeah, that's like you were saying, it's not something I've ever really even thought of before. But that actually, I could see myself leaning towards something like that more. I'm in college right now. I'm a health and sports science major. Okay. So I'm definitely for limiting the child obesity rate, trying to make the country as a whole more healthy and everything. And if more people start making their own companies and getting into doing the healthy food rather than, hey, let's open another McDonald's here. Yeah. I think that would definitely help a lot more. It would help them want to open their stores and everything with the extra tax breaks and everything. Exactly.
Awesome. Love that.
Yeah.
And I know, do you have any family friends in the oil industry right now? Or
yes. I my dad worked in there for a little bit a long time ago. He lives on a cattle ranch right now. We call him my uncle. He's my dad's friend. He's worked for Chesapeake forever.
Okay.
My grandma before she retired worked for Devon. It's been it's been a big deal for my family especially.
And have they been affected negatively since the downturn in the oil, or have they been pretty okay since the whole change?
Yeah. So well, my grandma's retired, so that that doesn't affect her anymore. My dad's friend, he as far as I haven't really talked to him a whole lot. As far as I know, he wasn't one of the guys that were sitting out there on the oil wells. He was higher up, and so I think he's still surviving. At least he's not going terrible right now.
Okay. All right. So you weren't hit too negatively.
No.
So my thing with the oil industry, I don't know if you do have other, like, maybe friends whose family were, and I understand it does suck. And anyone's livelihood, whatever it is, that's why I'm not one of those guys. If I get, offended by something, I'm not running to HR, because I don't like to affect anyone's livelihood. Everyone has to provide, especially if you have a family, even just a single person.
For sure.
Just like with coal, when gold mining was a thing back in, the 1800s, all these industries, steel was bigger. I feel like oil, we're eventually going to run out of it. It's a natural resource. So I think it does suck that people are losing their jobs, and those things do, but they're hurting a small amount of people compared to having to come up with new energy sources, because eventually we're going to have to go to something else. So we have to be moving towards new energy. I don't know. How are your feelings towards that and the whole pretty much oil industry and having to move forward towards a new renewable energy source?
Yeah. So you said it. Oil is going to run out. I'm not a geologist. I can't tell you when it's going to happen. I can't tell you how it's going to happen. I can't tell you any of that. But I know it's going to, because there's only so much of it. That we do have to move ourselves towards a new renewable energy source.
Yeah.
I don't know what that is.
Yeah.
I don't know how we can come up with that. I don't think that it can be electric.
Yeah.
That's for sure. There's no way that could happen. Wind, I've seen, living out here in Oklahoma, I've seen all of the wind turbines. I've seen the gas leaks from them because there's an engine in there just propelling those things. So that's not working. I think water power, I think that could be something with all the streams moving and everything. I think that if we could do something with that, that'd help a lot more. I don't know myself. I'm not an energy expert or anything like that. I don't know how. I couldn't tell you how we should move from it. But I think right now we have to keep using the oil that we have so that we can keep everything up and running while we are trying to actively find something else that we can keep going off of.
Okay. And now moving on, this might be a hot button issue. We're moving. Oh, wait, first, let's go back. So how do you feel about climate change? As before
climate. Climate change has kind of been I haven't read a whole lot about it. I haven't studied it too much.
Yeah.
Kind of the common sense part of my brain kicks in, and I read in school about the ice age, when basically the entire world was frozen, and then it heats up, and then it cools down again, and then it heats back up. So I think we're just kind of going back and forth through that thing. But like I said, I haven't read too much up on it, and I'm not extremely worried about it myself.
See, I just want everyone to know, halfway through this podcast, we're completely two different people. And I feel like we are saying the exact same things out of each other's mouths consistently. But all right, now moving on, talking about immigration. Again, I don't think we should just let anyone run through and loose in the country, because, taxes are a thing. You pay taxes to provide services for people. And yes, but at the same time, America was built on immigration. If people are coming and especially fleeing for asylum, I think there should be a path to citizenship. And of course, if you come to the country fleeing from something and you don't get in trouble when you're in a country, like, no major problems, you pay your dues, I'm okay with the path to citizenship. But of course, everyone has to be documented and taken care of. And that's just how a country works. It's better for everyone. It's better for them. Then they are paying taxes, and that helps provide more services to the community they are living in, and yada, yada. So how are your feelings?
For sure. Yeah, so I definitely feel like there is, just my perspective here, there is a somewhat path to citizenship. I definitely think that it's extremely difficult, and that it could be taken back a little bit easier.
Oh, wow.
I know. Well, some of the tests that have been
I've heard the test.
Released and everything. My little brother, who's in 8th grade right now, could not pass that test that you're supposed to be able to know by the time you get out of middle school.
Yeah.
And so, I think if I took that test right now, I feel like I'd do pretty well on it. But there's a couple years ago, probably not. There's more to being an American than knowing the past. There's the people that are here we're the most diverse country in the entire world. It's
Reach.
Yes, people are gonna come here, and people should want to come here. This could be the greatest country in the world. Obviously there's a lot of stuff going on right now, and there's just way too much divide for me to probably say that it is the best country in the world right now. But immigration is not a bad thing, as long as people are coming over and doing it the right way. I do have a problem with illegal immigration, people coming in, being undocumented, coming in, I'm not gonna say stealing all the jobs because that's not an actual thing that happens if you're not documented. But
That's what,
it's
and they don't speak English. What job? I tell people, what job are they taking from you? They can't even speak English. Like, not talking shit or anything, but just if that's the job
exactly.
that you want, get that job. You can have it.
Exactly. And I do think that people that are saying that should probably go out and try to, you know, do those jobs, the manual labor that they're doing, especially because I mean they're tougher than me. The people that are out there, I mean, I wouldn't want to do it for sure.
Yeah.
Like I was saying, I don't have a problem with immigration. I think that immigration is completely fine. I have a problem with illegal immigration, just not because we do have the path to citizenship, even though it's difficult. That's kind of my issue is people that are bypassing that.
Okay. And you're hoping they ease the rules, the way to become a citizen. They hope they make that way a little easier.
Yeah, I mean that can always be easier. I know my one of my mom's cousins actually, she is in her early 30s, I think. She married a man a couple years ago that immigrated here from Mexico, and he had to pay like $10,000 or something like that to get through all the court fees, get through everything like that. And yeah, that's just a lot of money and everything. But he did it, yeah, it was props to him, and he's successful now. So
I've been loving what you've been talking a lot about, just the values and your vision of America. And that's exactly same with me. Like, I know we're not the greatest now, but yeah, we have the opportunity and we have the resources. Like, we have every opportunity. So
yeah.
we're finishing up. I first want you to tell me, what is then your vision of, America? Like, how do you envision it? I don't know if I'm phrasing that question right.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm a huge sports guy. I love, huge baseball fan. Actually, I played baseball for 15 years.
Oh,
I believe, yeah, baseball is America's pastime. I want.
it's football now. Come on, man.
I mean, yeah, football is definitely the game of now and probably of the future. But 1950s, you couldn't beat a baseball game and a hot dog.
Yeah.
I like that's kind of my thinking is just mom and pop shops, the going to the baseball games, football games, the sports games, having kind of living in the suburbs type deal. I mean, that's always kind of what I've been done until I moved way out into BFE, like I was talking about the other day. But yeah, I mean, that's kind of, I don't know how to describe it too well. I'm not.
You're giving good imagery. I'm picturing, I'm getting a very good mental image of what you're describing, at least. I hope they are.
Yeah. I mean, I've lived in a small town most of my, I don't know, I wouldn't consider, I've lived in 2 small towns and have lived around small towns my entire life. And I feel like that's one of the best ways to live. Although I do not want to stay there. I'm coming as soon as I make enough money to buy my own house in the city. I'm going to move back up here to Oklahoma City.
Mm-hmm.
But I like the community togetherness down there.
And I love the community, and that's what I wish we had more of, like just more, I don't know, community with each other. And that's almost what I don't like as much. Because I grew up kind of in the suburbs, and then when I got to move in the city, it was like, you're glued to your neighbors, which, yes, you want space, but you actually get to know them and see them. And like, if you hang out on your front lawn in the suburbs, like my friend in Edmond, and it's like, you're considered trashy if we want to sit on our front yard and have a beer, but you pay for your lawn, like it's your yard, but it's just that's like the view of we have. We want to just be pristine. We want to pay for it, but don't actually touch it. And I wish we were just more in touch with each other and cared about each other. I don't know.
Yeah, there's definitely, you can learn a lot from small towns, especially living in one. Although a lot of them have pretty outdated views because, it's all 80-year-olds that are living there. There's definitely a sense of, I sit out on my front porch with my dad and grandpa and everything, and they tell me every single person that's driving by, we know everyone.
And that's even why I'm not big on the like fast food, like getting addicted. Like, we need to support our small businesses, like help us, like don't just help the giant corporations get more and more money, like
Oh yeah.
help the community,
Oh yeah.
And closing on this, like your friends, the people you associate with them, I'm assuming they share a lot of your views, but how closely aligned with you? Because you are coming off very moderate to progressive. Like I definitely would, it feels like by views, you're way more libertarian. Just, I do have some issues,
Yeah.
but I'm not too stuck on the right or the left. But how do your friends stack up? Or stack up?
I would say I'm not trying to call out any of my friends or anything.
No one specifically. Yeah, the group as a whole. Don't.
Oh yeah, no, yeah,
Yeah, I'm
no.
not. Yeah.
A lot of my friends are less educated about all of the topics.
Okay.
They are, like I said, small town. They're always Republican. Doing all that. They're posting, Donald Trump 2024. And while I think that he was a bad person, I mean, he did great for the economy. I'm not sitting here like, let's get him back in there.
Yeah.
If he ran again and whatever, I might vote for him. But they have very, very right wing ideals, and it's a little much sometimes for me when I'm hanging out with them, just because they're just not as educated about different types of stuff.
So you said, I guess it gets you sometimes. Do you let that affect your views and change how you feel because of your friends and the people you surround yourself? You think
What do
that?
you mean?
Do you think? I guess I'm saying, do you think do you think long term you will be an independent thinker, still surrounding yourself with that type of friend group long term?
Oh yeah, definitely. Because I'm very intellectual. I like to challenge my mind. I like to do all kinds of stuff. And so every time they say something, I just kind of question it and say
Yeah.
something to them. And
Really?
then no one really has any actual grounds or anything. They are just say the same 7 phrases you see about Republicans on Facebook every single day, and gets a little old. And so it's like they don't have an intelligent conversation. And so I'm like, okay, I mean, I'm not going to listen really to what you're having to say right now.
Yeah. Awesome, Ryan. I feel like, yeah, you're a great ally. Wherever you land on the voting ballot, I think you're an awesome dude, regardless of who you vote for. Yeah.
Appreciate it, man. Right back at you.
No problem. Thank you for talking to me too. Is there anything you want to leave? You want to say to anyone on your way out?
Nah, man. I don't know. I don't know who your audience is necessarily, so I don't know. Don't know anyone that actually has listened to the podcast before, except for maybe my cousin, who you guys have been going back and forth on Facebook. I know he said that he was probably going to listen when we talked, but who knows?
Oh, I didn't know that was your cousin. Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's my cousin. He living up in way up there, moved it, yeah, the whole situation.
Yeah. All right. Well then.
Yeah. All right, man. Well, appreciate it.
No problem. Have a good day, man.
You too, man.
Hey, don't forget to follow me on social media: Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, Snapchat, TikTok, whatever you want,